Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm honestly so thrilled you're here because today we're diving into a story that is just beautifully brief, incredibly heartwarming, and surprisingly profound. We're looking at the journey of a tiny abandoned sparrow chick named Chinu. We're going to explore how this fragile little creature basically captured the hearts of an entire household. It's a real testament to human compassion, and honestly, the astonishing level of trust a wild bird can place in us. Right off the bat, though, I need to share a fact that really frames this entire explainer. Chinu survived for exactly 1 month and 7 days. That's it, just 37 days. Now, I know that is a shockingly short lifespan, but as we go through this, I really want you to notice how much love, and memory can be packed into just a handful of weeks. It completely sets the stage for an emotional journey that proves, without a doubt, time is literally just a number when it comes to unconditional love. Okay, let's dive into how this all begins. Looking at this fragile little bird resting right there in the palm of an older family member, the stakes of her rescue are immediately obvious. I mean, she is incredibly tiny, pretty much featherless, and her eyes are barely even open. This is what complete and utter vulnerability looks like, right? Out in the wild, an abandoned chick of this size has virtually zero chance of survival. Zero. But those human hands? They represent a sudden, life-saving intervention. They didn't look away. They stepped right up to become her parents and give her the absolute best life possible, no matter how fragile she was. Now, let's move along and see how this builds, because the contrast in her growth is just incredible. From that initial super fragile state to a vibrant little bird with a beautiful textured coat of brown and gray feathers. And how did she get there? Well, this transformation is entirely thanks to her human parents. They meticulously cared for her, feeding her a specially prepared batter of wheat to give her the nutrients she so desperately needed. Seeing this contrast is just a powerful testament to what daily, dedicated human care can actually do.
Section 1. The Little JE Aspirant, Chinu Chukunder. So as Chinu grew stronger on that wheat batter diet, she learned to walk, she learned to fly, and her personality really started to shine through. The whole energy in the house just shifted to pure joy, and she became the total star of the home. The family dynamic here was so playful. In one moment, they affectionately call her Chinu Chukunder, which playfully translates to Chinu the beetroot. We see her literally waddling across the bed, heading straight for a massive Arti Sharma math textbook. Her human parents are joking around, asking if she's going to study math, teasing that she's already overage and way too late for her JEE engineering entrance exams. They joke that little Chinu will just have to crack the exam in her next life. It's just this wonderful, lighthearted moment that proves she wasn't just a pet. She was a totally beloved, teased, and cherished member of the family. Now, what's really interesting about this is how completely integrated Chinu was into typical family life. She wasn't locked away in a cage in some quiet, isolated room. No way. She experienced the full, bustling environment of a lively household. Our sources actually capture the background audio of her daily life. Like, in one instance, you can hear a loud TV commercial playing for one-tone face powder, alongside the sounds of fresh cooking spices. It just highlights how she was surrounded by the mundane, rhythmic, comforting sounds of a human home. She truly lived the best life possible, folded right into the everyday joy of her family. Section 2. A bond built on trust. Finding comfort. And this brilliantly illustrates something absolutely crucial. Usually, the relationship between a wild bird and a human is all about fear and flight. But with Chinu, that instinct was entirely replaced by a profound, unconditional trust in her human parents. Out of all the places in the house to rest, Chinu's absolute favorite spot was tucked safely asleep right on her father's blue plaid shirt collar. I mean, just think about the level of comfort required for a tiny wild bird to close its eyes and fall deeply asleep against a person. It speaks volumes about the love she felt and the safety her father provided. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was a bond of pure, undeniable trust. Section 3. A heartbreaking goodbye. A sudden loss. So the crucial point here is that despite the perfect care, the wheat batter, the laughter, and those safe spaces on shirt collars, nature is just incredibly fragile. The tragedy of Chinu's story really came out of nowhere without any warning whatsoever. On a night just like any other, she went to sleep right next to her mother, but the next morning, she simply didn't wake up at all. There was no prolonged illness, literally no warning signs, just a sudden, quiet departure. It was, without a doubt, the saddest day of all for the parents who had poured their entire hearts into giving her everything.
When we look back at her brief timeline, it really drives home how fast this beautiful story flashed by. Day 1, a rescue from certain death and starting her on that wheat batter diet. Weeks 2 to 4 just packed with milestones, learning to walk, flying around, and humorously studying math with her family. And then day 37, a sudden and heartbreaking passing. It was such a brief spark of a life, but as you can clearly see, it was incredibly dense with wonderful memories and experiences. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Chinu the Sparrow was only here for 37 days, but look at the incredible impact she left behind. It really forces us to ask, what does 1 month and 7 days actually teach us about humanity, trust, and unconditional love? Her short life proves that the value of a bond isn't measured in years, but in the depth of the care provided and the trust that's returned. She taught a family how to love a fragile creature, and in return, she showed us what pure trust looks like when a bird chooses a human caller as its safest haven. Thank you so much for joining me to explore Chinu's beautiful story. I really hope it leaves you reflecting on the small, fleeting, but incredibly powerful connections we share with the world around us.